near the water. In one of our trackers sent to us, it was even much bigger than that because these things are huge. This was found in a blind in Antlers, and we know that it was a cane. We know that, it was a walking stick at one time. But this has been chipped away the same. There was one water food in that structure. There was a structure right along the side, a creek, a bridge, and a railroad track. And so we, a little concerned about who may have been using that because they were no longer there.
Yeah.
And this was inside a predator Bigfoot structure. That club was also, our tracking dog found that club. I can't read. There's more examples of the roots, and we didn't bring, we've all seen the big giant root ball. So they can be from small to large. I gotta watch my breathing. This is a bow. This is just a small, extreme example of a bow, which you saw a lot in the movie. This, watch when you're walking by creeks and water. We found this when we were with Jose and Tanya. And look at the ends of this. They'll gig and spear. And we found a lot of tracks that day. So when you see these sticks poking up out of the water, wiggle them, because a lot of times they're not even, it's not a tree that's there, it's been stuck in there. And they blend in and they hide their weapons, and so nobody notices. We don't gift them. We do not give them gifts. This was what someone had surrounded their garden with in Louisiana. The one silhouette that was on here, the black mass that was in the woods looking out from the tree, it was real clear. That was from that area, and the people would feed it just to keep it. They feed the Bigfoots thinking, I'm going to keep them away from us here. We'll give you this and you leave us alone. Well, that's the same as sacrificing to a demon. It might as well be, all you're doing is habituating them to get used to coming there.
We're friends now, yeah.
Exactly. There's people that'll say that, you also don't want to leave that problem behind because people will create a problem. And then more and more of them come, the predators come, and they demand more and more and more. It's just common sense. I was in a hotel one time in Galveston, and I thought it would be smart to toss some bread, I think, to the seagull, to one seagull, and the next, I had to get inside because there were so many coming, and that's what the kind of thing that happens. It's an extreme example. We want to talk about toys. This was found inside, or very, very near, just, it was not in the structure, but very near the structure, and it was at a local park, again. But not in an area where children would play. It was behind. A lot of times they'll have almost a fence made of branches and vines, and it's to hide the structure that's behind it. The longer they've been there, the more elaborate it gets, the more layers they get. This is just an example. A lot of times it's balls pulled into the tree line or way off into the thicket, and those balls don't blow there, past all those. And so often we found ravines in Wright City. There was a ravine right up in the middle of town, huge pull downs, lots of structures, and toys shoved all the way back in there under the thicket where little kids are going to go and, oh, I want that, I get that, And from the structure, you could see the family life center. And that's another thing. We'll find a lot of structures outside of churches, schools, daycares, nursing homes. Parks, anywhere there's food and activity.
Walmart.
Seriously,
I was thinking that McAllister Walmart looks
You're absolutely right. And a matter of fact, in Louisiana, and if you listen to any of our interviews with Trucker B, a young lady went missing there at the Walmart. And they have the produce dumpster out and back. And most of the Walmarts are just plopped down in the middle of the woods, and they just push it back enough to do what they gotta do. But they've got way overgrown wood lines around them. Well, this one's got not really a river, but it's just swampy kind of all the way around. It's in Louisiana, right behind it. And they would send these girls, 15, 16, well, 16, just big, not even fully grown yet, out to the dumpster at night by themselves to dump this food. Just on the other side of the dumpsters is the big ravine. On the other side of that is the field and thicket and just a mess. Wood line goes way back. Been a lot of people missing over there in that area over time. But a lot of times it's people that no one cares about because it's, and I don't, we care about it, but the authorities and the people who want a pretty city don't care about if a homeless goes missing, that's problem solved. The fancy people quit complaining and, you know, we're not gonna worry about it.
Are
Sometimes
they
people
making
go
deals
missing.
with Bigfoot? I'm just kidding. I said, are they making the deals with the Bigfoot? Just kidding, no.
There is something, we could go down that rabbit hole, not today, but we will. Yeah, absolutely, there's some shady things going on. But back to the story, the lady that went missing, she was a customer. She had went in the store, got her stuff, came back out, opened her car door, set her bag on the seat, and then inexplicably disappeared. For some reason, whether she heard somebody cry help, because these things can mimic, and you knew this, they can sound like babies crying, women screaming, whatever. They can sound like your mate, your child, your pet. Something lured her off into the woods. She disappeared. They found her. It wasn't robbery because they found her purse, and that must have still been on her shoulder. But they found those items here and there scattered. Nothing, money missing. But it took them a long time to find her. When they finally did, she was drugged so far back up into the thicket, she had scratches all up and down her legs, eyes wide open in terror. She had passed, and it took 3 hours for the people to even be able to extract her from what she was wedged up into, whether they drug her in there or she backed in there out of terror. We don't know. And then the way the authorities handled it is they tried to, the local cops tried to say that, and newspapers and stuff said, well, she was going to meet someone for something illicit, and you know, they didn't mind trying to crash her reputation. But the family says absolutely not. That's not what was going on, and they know that this was a cover story in the line. Another thing that they'll try to say is, whenever you hear stories about wild hogs, wild dogs, wild pig, I said hogs, bears, it was a bear attack. Sometimes it is. Those things do happen, but not all the time. A lot of times those are cover stories because they're believable. There's been cases where 6 dogs in a neighborhood were all put down by the authorities, and it was an attack by these predator Bigfoots or hybrids, what people call dog man. You know, you understood that from the documentary that they have all kinds of traits, but they're just going to go to the simplest cover-up story that's most likely. Sometimes they'll say alligators. It just depends on what's the most common predator in that area. 6 dogs were put down in one neighborhood, even though the test said there was absolutely no content, there was no proof when they tested their bodies. They had nothing to do with this woman being eaten. And then we all probably have heard here recently where there was a woman attacked up around, or she was in the Tulsa hospital. She got attacked in McAllister, which is not that far from here. And what she said was, it was dog-like, but certainly not a dog, and that was before she, she'd already been laying there for 30 minutes before they found her. Native woman, I think. I think, if I remember correctly, she was a native woman, and she was going to, well, I've heard a couple of different stories on that, but you can look it up, a dog man attack in McAllister with her colleague. But, that's the first time that I can remember ever a sheriff not trying to cover it up and saying, we've never seen wounds like this. We want your help to find out what that is. But so the attacks are happening more frequently. Stuff like this, I used to think it was cute. My own daughter got me this when I first started learning about Bigfoot before I knew they were predators. If your kids have these, teach them that no, these are monsters. Play with them like that. These are monsters, and they can hide behind a bush, or we watch for these. We don't play with them. We don't hug them and love them. They don't love us. They're not our friends. Stuff like this, paper dolls with a Bigfoot. If you're gonna give your kids something like this, use it to teach them that they will put the little ones in clothing or blankets and pretend to be us. We've got pictures of them in hoodies sitting on somebody's front porch caught by a doorbell cam with a poor little fried dog right beside it. Also in a busy park in Houston, sitting at a picnic table. There's one very clearly. They're not putting the sleeves on and all that, but the hood is just draped over the head and draped over the shoulders. Very simple, easy thing for them to do. But from a distance, it's kind of cloaked. People can't see that face. They think, no, it's just a homeless person. Always look at the feet. If you see somebody walking along on the side of the road and heads down and, if they got a blanket or a hood or something like that, it's not always a human. It's dangerous anyway to stop and pick up something like that. We use our judgment now and then, we might. But we've got to be real careful and also aware that sometimes it's not even a human at all. What else? These are all the original drawings that Cherry did for the Legend of Time. And I think I'm done.
Well, I was going to just say that I would kind of like to know a little bit more about, I forgot your name. Just say Mom.
Bear's mom, something besides Bear's mom.
Corey. Corey.
Lori?
Corey.
Corey.
No. Corey.
Corey.
Oh, yeah, already, that's right.
Yes, that's right.
Would you tell us a little bit about what has been going on?
Well, now, you're late.
Yeah,
I'm getting back.
Okay.
What's my dog, he runs up, where you went up into the woods there at the house. Well, he's been running up close to the woods, barking. Now, he went on up in there and he came out. I've got him in the habit of running, playing with him. But he come out of the woods where he was at. Boy, he just making a circle, just like he always does with me. So I figured,
I think it's a younger one because it come up and slapped on the house again,
Oh, okay.
but it wasn't enough to shake the house.
oh,
But you could hear it.
it's hit the house, but I think 3 different times here lately.
So it's gotta be a younger one.
And I go, and he's been over there and looked for whatever was hitting the house, and there's nothing laying there but rocks. So, we think maybe it was a tree limb broke or something, but it's not. So
And it's small enough, I can't find any cracks.
Well, and
Makes it light enough that I
you're
can.
dealing with all the rocks there too.
Yeah, I mean, you
There's
see
plenty
a lot
of
of
rocks
that.
there for it to throw.
But there was no rocks where it hit the house and fell down. You can tell a hand hit it. No limbs, no rocks, nothing.
Yeah, I remember, it was just the other day, you sent that message and the activity has started again.
Start again.
I can't get him to go back up in the woods.
No, chicks are out. Man, I already got loaded the other day. Staying out woods right now.
Yeah, maybe.
No, that's.
Yeah, we just need to turn at the house, there's no need to go trying to chase them down and stir them up. We just want to get rid of these bugs right there around the house. You were feeding them at the wood line at one time, not feeding them on purpose, but putting scraps out
Yeah.
at the wood line. Have you
I've never found,
stopped doing that or?
well, I haven't seen anything that he's bothered around, you know, as far as eating around there, because I've got the dog food, the pan of dog food right there on my porch, and it's never bothered, but a little bit of food out of it.
Yeah, something that size is not gonna eat 2 or 3 crumbles.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's gonna eat the whole bowl
yeah.
or the whole bag.
So this is all happening now.
Just
And
last
Again.
fall.
again, yeah.
Again,
So this is not like for other people, you know, some people don't even believe some of these things happen. But then we actually have people, and we've been through it too. But it's actually happening. These things are happening. And not
Well,
just
strange
here.
things, it has to be, there's sure strange things happening and that, supposed to be them.
She
Well, with
used
us
to have
getting
a
out there-
donkey that was mean and it kept things
Yeah, it
pushed
run
all
out
at
of
once.
wood.
Now that the donkey's gone,
It's coming in.
yeah, they're getting bold again. And right before we got there last time, you had heard your name, or hey, was it, you heard,
call her name.
was it your name? They heard you heard their name
No,
or you heard, hey, or something like that. It's on the Miss Oreen, a conversation with Miss Oreen video.
But you know, after we got out there and wandered around, all activity ceased,
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
and now it's back, so I guess I'm gonna have to get out there.
But we can come
Yeah,
back
we come
there.
back over there.
Well, I don't mind going out there by myself, I'm not
Well,
afraid.
yeah, it's not bad. It's just,
It's not that, but
they
we
want
do
you
the
to.
same thing,
They
everywhere.
won't want me
It's
coming
just
out.
good. that
That buckshot.
If you come up here, several people are gonna go out, you know,
and
we're not gonna tolerate
some-
that kind of thing.
even in our house, these things will come back periodically. They'll come up to the house, and once we see the tracks or hear the noise, we go out in the woods and let them know we know that you came to the house, so we're looking for you.
Yeah,
Well, you
And that
know,
also pushes them back, and
you put in context then with, say, Kyle's. Well, Kyle's been in there for a while, but once they thin out the rabbits and other stuff, they move to another area because there's nothing to eat. And they're gonna be the same way.
Yeah.
You know, right now, the berries are coming on, so they're gonna be right in there
For a
with
while.
stuff to eat.
I've been there and all bother about, I didn't have anything. Before we got rid of the mules, the donkeys, had electric fence, wires around. And ever so often, right straight back to the house. Now, I don't, the donkeys didn't break that every time, there's two different times, right at the same place, that wire was broken. Just like they was breaking it and coming in the yard,
yeah.
and,
But that
they
mule,
said,
they
well,
didn't
look like
stay.
it
yeah.
would have shot them and wouldn't have done it the second time, but, I know twice that the wire was broken at the same place.
Not too long ago in Louisiana, there was a little girl that said to her dad that she came out, she was supposed to be in bed, and she came out and said that she was scared, something was looking in her window, the hairy thing was looking in her window. And he, you know, at first he thought, well, you just dreaming and that kind of thing, you know, wanted to dismiss, but then the dogs really started barking. And so he went outside and went around, and first thing he saw was one of the dogs with its back broken, no, its neck was broken. And then he looked into the woods and saw the red eyes. And then, so he got real nervous and backed up to the house and got a shotgun and put a couple of shots. By then you could see a silhouette. Well, we haven't got to talk to him ourselves, Tracker B told us about this, that, she worked with the lady who's his cousin. And we're not sure if he saw the silhouette in the same spot as the red eyes, or if it was a different one, because you never think that it's just one, there's always more out there. The little ones that couldn't come up to the house closest, because they're learning how close can you get, they're practicing, and they're also the easiest to sneak around, and, you know, they're gonna be less noticeable. That's why that one could go up right on the lady's porch and sit, and it's hooded.
And in like this case, it's, the dog got to know it.
Yeah,
So the dog's not barking at it, it's want to play with it.
yeah, yeah, and they'll leave like a UPS man with a biscuit in his pocket for the dogs, they'll do that too, but it's not because they're friends with them, they don't love them. So you'll hear Bigfoot lovers try to say, oh no, they're my
They
dogs.
just
they
don't
love
want the
great
dog
dogs."
messing with them while they're crawling
But
around.
it's done with your
That
dog, your
every
dog is
time
food.
anybody comes up, if there's a hand down there, he wants to lick it or be friendly.
Yeah,
He's probably done that same thing with the Bigfoot,
Yeah.
you know, he thinks it's being friendly with it.
No, it's just
Right.
time to get the shotgun, go out there and bust off a few rounds.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And,
We call it shadow shooting.
target practice.
well, in our area especially, they know what farm.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got a farm.
Yeah, either that or go out there and hit your car on.
Alert.
I'm
Randy.
learning on them.
Oh, you don't know.
Do you have a car alarm on yours? Do you have a beeper on your car? Okay,
What is
Air
it?
horn or something.
Yeah.
some way
There's not
that
that
you
much
can
money
make a
in that
noise,
money.
and get
Yeah.
nervous. You know what else there is those, you can get them at the dollar store, just a little window alarms that you disconnect them and it does it. Something annoying and loud that lets them know that you know this is gonna happen every time.
You're gonna come around. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. The story with the dog that had its neck broken, now there's been a second dog killed there too. And it was trying to look in that little girl's window and people were saying they're just curious. What they're just curious and it drives us bonkers because there's no other thing, there's no human, there's no other thing that you would allow to come and try to look in your windows at anyone.
Yeah.
Nobody would tolerate
Your
that.
next door neighbor coming over to your window.
You shoot them.
Yeah, come on.
He's called the law.
Herbert.
But
We're gonna hear some
people will
of
say,
those.
"Oh,
But it's a constant upkeep. Because, I mean,
It
they may
is.
go for a little bit, they'll come back. They go
Yeah,
house
but
to house.
just like the animals y'all were talking about, they clean out an area and they leave, but they know how long it takes to repopulate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they'll come back around it.
Right.
well, and then there's other troops too, there's not just one
That's
troop,
right.
you know. If they can find a good gig and people are feeding them and stuff like that, they'll stay. But if they gotta move, they will, you know. And if there's no other food, humans are on the menu.
So do you think the Appalachian Mountains are like completely full of them? Because I hear about the
We think
whistling
every mountain's
eyes,
so full of
like
them.
pretty
This
much,
place is full of-
I guess every mountain I go. I just hear all those Appalachian stories. And
Well,
it just makes
actually,
me
we
think
are part of that.
All
Yeah.
mountains,
These mountains were uplifted at the same time that.
big. Okay, well, that makes sense. I just know
really
that.
all the woods, because we're word sheet that.
Well, nobody
how
talks
it's,
about our mountains.
Yeah,
They only talk about.
and everything was woods.
Sam Houston National Forest down there where I live, big thicket. If you notice, way back when they made the national forests, there was a certain president that did that. They already knew what was in the forest. One of the presidents killed one. Eddie Roosevelt.
This is.
That's
word
when they
sheet.
made the national forest, to keep these things out of our way.
You know, I've heard a lot of stories about you can't kill them. They're just too big, too powerful. You can't kill
Go
them.
through the eye and towards the.
In
center.
shot or under the, right here.
They didn't,
a couple loads of buckshot in the chest, he's gonna hit the ground. They might not kill him, but he won't be getting back up there quick.
Sure, they have chests like that.
yeah, remember, it's not like, you don't wanna do center mass.
No.
It's either under the left arm or this is
In the
where
head.
you're aiming.
Yeah,
Because
we
this
have
is
some
all
other
just too thick. There's been a lot of
trackers.
people shooting. It does no good in the body.
And we're just gonna say, I don't know if y'all know War Chief, but he has encountered here at the Broken Bow area.
Mountain Fork River over here by Beaver's Bend State Park.
Do you
You mind telling it real quick?
Oh, God. Well, me and my dead ex-wife, we went there in 1974, March, first week in March, and take vacation. And we're gonna spend 4 days in the river. And we had already been there 2 days, everything was fine, I caught plenty of fish. And I got up the third morning and made some coffee and had some coffee, cup of cup. And I used about a 5-gallon bucket to put my catch in and fill it full of water and keep it there with me. And I'd already caught 3 fish, 2 smallmouth bass and a rainbow. Had them in the bucket. And this is right after the sun come up. I mean, it's a little breeze in my face from across the river out of the south. And I make another cast. I was gonna catch another one more fish and then take them up there and clean them. And I drew back and I thought I hung a tree limb behind me. But I turned to the spot where the limb was. I was gonna get the plug out of it. And all I saw was a cinnamon brown hair wall. About me behind me. Or closer, maybe a little closer than that. I'd hung it right here. But when I turned around, I'm 6 foot tall and my head, top of my head was about that far below his belly button. I figured he's probably a little over 12 foot tall. And he was 6 feet across the shoulder. The head was as big as a 5-gallon bucket and another half is how big the head.
Well, I've never laid eyes on one, but you know, so I was digging a water line up in the mountains and on the excavator. It was lunchtime. I just shut the thing down for lunch, and I was 60 foot from the tree line. And it wasn't a stick; it was a log. It was about that big around and about 20 foot long, like a spear comes flying out, get under that excavator. And I turned and looked, and never seen anything. But I'm 60 foot from where the tree line was, and they got three like a spear out of the tree line.
Well, after I turned and saw him and I started looking up, I didn't really want to look in the eyes, but it's like it made me look on up. I saw the plug. When I saw look in his eyes, I couldn't move, I couldn't holler, I couldn't anything. I was like, I beat my pants a bit, I know. But he was letting out a really low growl, like infrasound maybe. And I could feel my bones in my chest rattling. And the only thing I could think of to say, I thought it, I didn't say it, I was, oh my God, I'm so sorry for hurting you, put his plug in him. And the next thing I know, it was like turning the light switch off, everything went black. I passed out. And he took my fish out of my bucket, broke my rod in 4 places, smashed my plain old tackle box flat, and left 2 footprints right there where it was. His footprints were 22.5 inches long, 10.5 inches across the ball of the foot, and 7 inches across the heel. And they were about that deep. And those were the only prints anywhere. Like he had been watching me maybe all those mornings catching fish, and decided he wanted them, stepped out of the portal or just, because there was no tracks coming or going, just the one right there. And I hadn't went back to that place in 49 years until we had a tracker meeting up here, and I rented a cabin right there on the river. First time I've been back since '74, and I was nervous. Oh Lord, I was nervous. Oh Lord, but I had to look at those demons and fight them, And Jerry had a little ceremony down there right by where I had my encounter. Yeah, I had night terrors for all those years, and but since He did their little ceremony, I hadn't had another night there. That's
Yeah,
been nearly a year.
Wherever you have a bad or trauma, something happened there, it could be a car wreck, it could be, maybe you got a fight someplace or something, you got hurt there. You're supposed to go back there and put good memories in places. And then you've all got to God, so that you don't carry the trauma.
Have y'all ever heard of Sabila Irwin? He's a painter and a photographer,
That's familiar.
does caricatures, I mean, drawings for the police department and stuff. This was that creature in my encounter. I got to look at it. I worked with her 3 months.
Can you
That's
see
what he looked like.
spider in that?
No wonder you passed out.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, those shoulders were 6 foot wide. I could lay that flat and that's how wide his shoulders.
And you never even knew that such a thing
No,
existed.
in 74, I was working in the oil field, 7 days a week, 65 days a year. I never heard nothing like this in the forest. And I've been going to the forest and fishing in rivers and all that. And then that happened.
Most people.
I didn't go
haven't heard
anymore.
of it, right?
I'd go to a lake fishing where there was a lot of people around.
I mean,
And not
I've
many
heard
trees.
about them all my life. So they don't scare me.
Well, I'll tell you what, you turn around and that's 3.5, 4 foot from you.
Well, yeah, you can feel yourself, as far as it.
Well, it's
I don't-
not only that.
It's not that I don't go in the woods because I'm afraid of it,
It's not only that, they put off I don't know, it felt like a pressure on me. It didn't have me holding me, but I could feel kind of a pressure and electricity coming off of him. Too.
And the infrasound.
And that infrasound, boy, rather than my
Turn you to jelly.
bones in my chest. Lord.
Yeah, we know some guys some natives in Alaska who survived, and luckily they got out. They went to their fishing shack at a time. A couple of them, they got inside and then these things surrounded their house or their little shack. And they were looking through the windows at the guys, and they all had weapons. And one guy jumped underneath the table, started shaking. 2 of them started urinating. And only one of them had the sense or could hold
Presence of
on,
mind.
to get his weapon and reach the guard from. The other ones were, their minds were gone. And then next day they made a run for it. And he put 3 rounds in the chest and kept coming and he stopped. And it was with the 30-30, I think he used. And then maybe some boat, they finally got out of there, but they said they knew what it meant to feel like food. They didn't, they knew these things were gonna eat them, so, what's his name?
Well, I tell you what, if anybody tells you that they've got PTSD, I don't care if they're coming from a war or what, right? Feel sorry for them. Because that shit's real.
Absolutely.
And nobody even believed you,
Oh, yeah, and anybody I've ever told believe.
did they? Okay.
Yeah,
good.
because I started kind of
I heard a
sweating,
lot of
I've been lately and talking.
But it also
Nervous.
took you didn't tell anybody for decades.
I didn't tell this story to anyone for
Oh.
49 years.
Okay.
I believe they wouldn't believe me. That's what I thought. They wouldn't.
I would think too.
But those night terrors that I'd wake up at least twice a night for the first year, I'd wake everything and everybody up in the house, kicking, screaming, fighting. Until he was spider crawling at me. He jumped to his feet and grabbed me and picked me up where I'm looking at him eye to eye and starts opening that giant mouth like he's fixing to put my head in it. That's when I woke up.
I might just be too stupid to be afraid. I don't know.
You don't know what the spider crawl is.
They walk on, their fingertips and toes, and they can move fast.
And it's the creepiest thing.
That's for something that weighs 1,300 pounds, you can do that, yeah.
And this is why too, people, that's why we tell the trackers get down low, get down the baseline. Too, most people are just looking
If you
for
study
height.
from the baseline, then you can see that watery translucent better. It comes in, it's just like
a heat
You
wave.
on the highway,
Exactly what it's like.
you get down low and you can see it really brown.
And even a bear could hide behind a berry bush, big bears and stuff like that.
Oh,
wait
yeah.
for prey
Oh,
and
easy,
deer and
yeah.
things. Even bears, when you get down low, you just wait for food. But there's been a lot of hunters who has raised that rifle, looked at it and.
Said this ain't gonna work.
No,
I'm just
I'm
gonna
under
make it
gun.
mad.
Or it looked too much like a man.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I've heard that story a lot of times. Look through the scope, said, look, I'm like a man, I'm not gonna pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You think you're just gonna piss?
As long as he's minding his business and not showing any aggression towards me, I'm gonna be
Not
fine.
bothering your mama and coming up to her house and,
Yeah.
you know, there's no good reason for them to be doing
If you
that.
can get
They're not
you some
getting
really
home for
good,
fun.
I've bought me some solar game cams. You know, they charge you up there in the day and they run all night. I mean, they run all night, it's 24 hours a day. Put some of them out, that infrared will keep them, they don't want to be caught. Okay? And that infrared kind of hurts your eyes anyway. Story that those guys that were flying and hit down there with those, that infrared and hit them like a mile and a half away and it turned like that and put its arm up to block that ray because it would hurt him.
I gotta go pick him up. They've been over at a birthday party.
I was just gonna say, here's Jose and Tanya too, they have a, YouTube channel and they do tracking also.
And they, just not too long ago, they had their own counter. On that little light creek along there.
And y'all have all the books?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much for bringing her.
Yeah.
Almost didn't get her to come till last night.
We're glad that you did already.
Well, it's good to see.
Good seeing you, Lorraine.
You
And we'll
wanna
see
take a
you
bottle of
again.
water?
Okay, I will.
I'll stick you.
Okay.
Barry, you're welcome to
Yeah.
take a bottle of water.
We're just waiting
I
for.
gotta go pick him up. They've been at the birthday party.
You want a bottle of water, you sorry? Huh? You want a bottle of water to take with you? No. Okay. Now be careful.
All right. I guess
Thank you.
it's.
We'll get a hold of you,
Give
to
me a
talk
hug,
about
Barry.
going out there
Yeah,
again.
next time you'll come up, stop by.
Yeah, we always honk. I don't know if you noticed that. That's, we'll always honk when we go by. All right, Barry.
And did you tell us that one?
Oh, the lady that came into, there was a lady come into the library the other day and I was telling her about this, we were doing this with them. And she said that her and her husband was driving. And they were driving and one just ran right across the road in front of them. She tried to get them to stop.
We should have said this because they were right at the shoulder
Oh,
turn
really?
and they would have been like, wow.
Yeah.
They know you watch out.
Yeah.
And she said she tried to get her husband to turn around and go back so she could see if she could find a rip friend or something. And he's like, nope, I'm just gonna keep going.
Always fun.
He wouldn't go back for her.
They did it sometimes, like, they're talking about trap, each fit set a trap, so somebody will come back.
Yeah.
Like,
And she did exactly what they wanted to do. Let's go back.
yeah, she wanted to go back and her husband said, no, he wasn't going back. He just kept trying.
And then the lady that works there in the Showboat store, the Rockin' Rooster, she's got activity there behind her. Or there's a pond nearby there coming back this way. Yeah, so there's stuff going on there too. It's everywhere,
Yeah.
including in the cities. People don't understand, they run through those drainage ditches. and
Right,
big
trains.
culverts.
Go by trains in the town,
Mhm.
in the city, yeah.
All they need is a little,
Did y'all get to hear
Canal.
that howl that I recorded at my front door?
it's on the, yeah, it was in,
It was
the
in the-
well, if you got it just real quick to do it.
Well, I don't know whether or not.
It's in the,
And we got one last video that we're gonna show. It's on that YouTube channel. It's the last thing.
You wanna come look?
It's only about 4 minutes.
Show them their life.
Wait a minute, just over
Ah, there it is.
That's the one that.
That's for your front porch? That's horrible.
right out in front of it.
Where do you live?
Oh, where are you at? Not that much.
Stay away from it.
I live,
This
in
town?
Harris County. I'm 32 miles northeast of downtown Houston.
Oh, you travel this far?
Yeah. Tom, when he's tractor.
Okay, oh, that makes sense.
And I didn't catch all of it. I missed about 5 seconds of it. I caught 11 seconds
That's
of it,
insane.
and it went another 5 seconds.
So they're hunting you back.
Well, I don't know, but
I think.
I live on the Lucy Bayou, which runs in the north end of Lake Houston. It's real woody out there. I made it for it. And, sounded like it was right down by the creek, Lucy Bayou, maybe a quarter mile, 200 yards maybe. And that was so loud at my house, that I could feel the vibration.
Y'all get comments report on that? Nobody else heard that shit?
I know what it was.
Well, yeah, you do.
There's nothing else out there with lungs that big.
Anybody else in your neighborhood might.
You know?
I've seen many eyes shining, following everywhere I go. Every time I look in the dark, they're looking at me. A thousand airs, people walk around like shadows in the corner. My eyes wanna turn up. There's nothing there, a blue place where do I see? Who calls my name from the forest, the same as my father? My head stands up on the back of my neck, I feel sick and dizzy now. Disoriented, spinning around. On 2 feet follows me, looking and smoking from tree to tree, whistling for me. There's a cloud and a wind, my body tries to tremble, but I'm staying brave. Something swims back and forth as I look away. I remember my mother always told me that when I hear and see this in the woods or around town, I am the sound, the alarm, the letter. There's no predator, Bigfoot's a hunting, and I should go and let her know. My father knows what to do as he goes to the night. Mothers find their children and let them know to stay close. Stay in the house and pull the shades down. Hold your breath and don't make a sound. On the days of the fall, I did a big foot and hungry for them. And woman for my soul, get a little brush and beat his townspeople. Walk from the street to the woodline, moving somewhere to the woods now, making no sound as a gift of trees found. Food and children's hiding places and flowers too. I was gonna do this to our time. Putting my soul in danger, shoes of a stranger I see. Someone has been feeding predator Bigfoots near our family's home. Trees bald and pulled down, sharpened spikes placed in the ground. As the forest goes quiet, not a bird, cricket, or frog. The trees are still, the forest has its fill. Weapons now ready, it's all the sign that predator Bigfoots are around. Now it's a trap as it slaps on a tree. Over there and right next to me now. Hooks everywhere, behind every tree. The raven is tall, but that's not all. Coyotes somehow is told. broken branches are the babies cry. I hear a hoot and an owl flies by a cold blood, and the sound of the screams like a dream won't come to the reality I know. What's all around and didn't make us stop till now. We all know what the sign on his head to slow their touch. People run from fears, others stand clear, calm in their aim as the ground is now stained. The forest now quiet as only few walk away. Now we look for the one who gifted the predator's heart down.
Fantastic.
Now, that
I love
one
that.
picture was the one that you all was talking about, the one that was sitting on the porch, the hoodie on.
Yes,
That's the one, yeah. No,
Did you see it or?
Yeah, I saw it.
and that was just a screenshot off of a video. We
It
have
was
a
a-
bunch of
the-
photos
the
of it. You can see
screenshot.
it looking
It was
forward and then looks
a
up.
ring cam,
Ring cam.
and we done some tracking in that for them, and they were saying that we're using thermals and not vision. And so they said, well, we can afford to get this ring cam, and the very next day,
They bought it.
yeah. And then they got some stuff in the trees and.
Yeah,
I
and
recorded
that
it
little
right out
shed,
the front
with a tree
door.
behind it, and they were constantly crawling up in that tree when she'd come out in the morning, it was there in that tree.
First
That's
time you heard this?
wrong.
No, it's on something.
That's it.
I didn't put this on here. This is, what worksheet recorded.
Scarier.
You missed about 15 seconds.
I've got 11 seconds of it, and it's another 5 or 6.
You know what? What we said, me and her just said,
What?
it sounded like a tornado with a tornado alarm going off at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah,
It
That's what
did.
it
and
sounds.
they do sound like sirens and
I
it
said
sounds
that.
like weather,
Yeah, you said it.
machinery.
But that was, you could tell and that was from his front door, and it was out in the, bayou area. And even at that distance, it still was like this.
I can still feel the
He's right up in the
vibration.
middle of a suburb, really. It's a town.
It's a little subdivision out north of Huffman,
Yeah,
Texas,
the houses are just
north of Lake
20
Houston.
feet apart from each other.
And so we're gonna do the book signing now. Whoever wants to purchase a book. And as soon as we're done with that,